Hello there everyone, Spazzy Dragon here, aka Syndromes, and today I'm going to, it's not going to be a tutorial, it's going to be just show you my own experience in making transmission bars and signatures. So what we're going to do, first of all, you need GIMP. This is a free-to-use, free-to-install program which is pretty similar to Photoshop, in the same sense as, I don't know, a BMW is close to a Volkswagen. You know, pretty much like pretty same in terms of usage, but completely different levels of prestige. So if you want to make a transmission bar or a signature, first things first, you need to know the size, because we do have a limited size, and that is, if I'm not mistaken, 700 pixels wide and 200 pixels high. So that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to set the width to 700, the height to 200, and make our first layer. So this is going to be the base of your signature or transmission bar, and my own personal suggestion for this is treat this as the forum. Like, imagine this is the forum page. In order to do that, this is our background layer. This is, I'm not going to change the name, this is going to be the background. First things first, we need to set the opacity, just the see-throughness of it, to completely see-through. It means that everything that we're going to place here is going to be see-through. This is going to be the background of the forum, so I suppose in our forum it doesn't really matter much, considering it's all black. But if you want to make signatures or whatever for different forums, you will need a transparent background. Okay, so for the sake of today's example, we are going to make a transmission bar which uses the same aesthetics as the in-game user interface. So first things first, we need to get a sample of the user face itself, and for that we're going to quickly go into the game. Alright, so I just logged on my Torpedo character, and we are going to take a very quick sample of the in-game GUI. But to do that, first of all, we need to remove the background stars so there's nothing in the background. So we have a nice, completely empty black background. And to do that, we are going to use the player status. We are going to use this little thing. Now, so we don't have all of this stuff, first of all, we are going to switch to cockpit view, and then we're going to minimize the cockpit itself, so we just get all of this, and we're just going to print screen it like this, and now we can close the game. Okay, so now that we have that done, we are going to launch Paint, because I found that the Paint is actually, in Windows 7 at least, is actually pretty good. So this is what we're going to work with. First of all, we are going to get rid of all of the unnecessary padding to this. We're going to crop it. And second, we're going to remove all of this. Thankfully, Freelancer uses a very neat little background texture which sort of just blends in. You don't need to be completely accurate with the placing, it still looks good whatever you use it for. So we're going to cover the cross, all the information, and everything else. So this is going to be our backdrop. As you can see, it's almost 700 in width, so it means that once we're going to get rid of this black stuff, then it means we are going to be just within the correct size, well, width size anyway. See, we cropped, so it's 690. Now what we want to do is, obviously, we need to make a signature, so it's going to be a bit more compact, like so. As you can see, we can make it up to here, but that's not going to be very nice, so instead we're going to take it somewhere here like this and make it just a little bit compact, somewhere like this. Ha. Okay, so apparently the top and the bottom are not the same size. I did not know this. New idea. We're going to take it over here, paste it, and then we're going to flip it, sorry, not horizontally. We need to flip it vertically and then place it on top of the other, like so. I'm just going to adjust it like this. Okay, so this is going to be our signature or transmission bar. The trick here is that we actually need a little bit of this black spot, this black space, so we're going to crop it as much as we can, like this. So depending on what color your thing uses, like the backdrop, you are going to pick a different color, because when we are going to be in GIMP in a moment, let me just show you like this. So I just pasted it. As you can see, we can't see it right now because it's a floating selection. We're going to need to right click on it and set to new layer. So this is it right now. Now what we're going to do is, actually no, we're going to remove it again. I undo it a little bit. We're going to select a new project, paste it right here, and now what we're going to do is select this little tool. It's called Select by Color. Boosh. We selected the black, and we now delete it. So what is going to happen now is that, whoop, sorry, I just fucked up a little bit. So this is going to be our little thing. Actually, in theory, we could do the same thing. I just forgot how I used to do it. So to new layer, select this tool, select this thing. Ah, there we go. Okay, so the idea is that we needed it to select it in a way that we can delete the black spot around it, so we can leave everything. So this is the background. So if you paste this into the forum right now, it means that you are going to be able to see only this part here, nothing else. So that is our background. I don't need to name this, and we can now close this, I suppose. Close without saving. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here comes the interesting part. Now we need a character picture. It doesn't really matter what you use, in theory, but let's just say you want some sort of... Actually, yeah, give me a moment. Well, as you can see, I found Trent. We're going to use this picture right here, because it's a pretty decent quality one. It's not pixelated or anything, and what we're going to do now is pretty simple. I'm not going to use all of it, obviously. We're going to actually use the screen capture tool right here and select the amount we're pretty much going to use, like so. Now we're going to copy that and paste it over here, and again we're going to select it as a new layer. Now we're going to use the resize tool, and first of all you need to click this. This means that if I change the proportions, it's going to change the height as much as I change the width, because right now I can actually compress it, stretch it out, and we don't want that. Control Z. I'm just gonna compress it right now. Did I just undo it? Yes, I did. Sorry, there we go. And we're just going to be now, we are going to press it here so I uniformly can actually scale it, and we are going to align it as much as possible to our little thing. Okay, so we have that scaled down now. Now we're going to modify it in the way so we only have Trent. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the eraser and we are going to zoom in. I'm using control and mouse wheel to zoom in. I found it very easy to do now. And here's the thing, if I currently click somewhere else, I'm currently clicking the mouse, it's not going to do anything to the background because I don't have it selected. For example, if I'd select the background layer, I could do this, but we don't want that. We're going to edit only trends. So in theory, this is the most annoying part in the sense, because you are going to remove all the unneeded stuff from the picture itself, and obviously, well, wow, no, we're going to use, maybe select a custom size. We're going to use a 10, and we are just going to remove all of these unneeded stuff. We're going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see everything like this, and we are just quickly going to remove everything that we don't need right now. So yeah, this is probably the most annoying part of making any picture that requires you to like crop out a character or crop in a character, because you know, if you try to rush it, it's not going to look nice. As you can see, I already did something. It looks sort of blurry, but that's because of the image that I'm using. It looked good on that size, but since I compressed it into a smaller size, not compressed, scaled, sorry, wrong term right there. Since I compressed it in the wrong size, it's actually going to look a little bit more blurry when we're going to go up to full scale. Okay, so here's the thing. Depending on the picture you use, the lightning might be coming from the wrong place, so we're going to actually remove some extra pixels from Trent's jacket here, so it doesn't seem that like the lighting that lights the character is coming from here. It doesn't make sense then. Something like this. Okay. And everything else. Everything that you might do at this point really depends on your own personal preference and style. I, for example, would not really like it to be cut off like this. I might actually, first of all, select it as a bit of a angle like this, maybe, so it doesn't really seem like yeah, it just sort of cuts off like this. It doesn't look that good, but again, this is just for the sake of example. So after we have that done, we can add some text. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to see, okay, what is this color now? Oh, okay. There we go. That is going to be our color of choice for the text. And this is going to be where the text is going to be. For some reason, GIMP starts off as sans as default, so obviously we don't use sans. No one uses sans. If you use sans, you are a bad man. Instead, we are going to use a font called D something. Let's see if I can find it. Data 70. Now, this is a very favorite of mine because it looks sort of data-ish, for the lack of a better word. So what we're going to do now is Edison Trent, and we are going to make it a bit bigger, like this. So that is just how you add text. Is going to be added as a separate layer. And what else can we try? Let's make a new one somewhere here, which we're going to move. We're going to make a completely new one like this. See, it automatically creates a new one. We're going to set a status thingy and reduce us. Oh, that was a bit too much. Sorry. Status. I'm going to make a status bar, and this is going to be where we add the online selection. So what we're going to do now is we are going to remember that this is a 26. So we are going to do a new one. It's also going to be 26, but we are going to change the color to green like this. Actually, no. First of all, what we need to do let's make an animated one, actually. That's exactly what we're going to do. So this is the first part. We are going to export it to my desktop, and we are going to call it Trend 1. That is going to be how we are going to call it. It's going to be a PNG. We're going to set the compression level to 0 so we don't get any pixelation. And after that, now we're going to add that new status message, which is going to be green. And we're going to set it as online. The only thing that we need to do, though, is actually move it in the right position. Actually, come to think of it, I don't think this is the right font to use it for it, so... oh, wow. That might as well do it something like this. So that is going to be our little online thing. And now we are going to export it as Trend 2. Right? And export. There we go. That is our current little nice signature part 2. So we can close this now. And now what we're going to do is make an animation. To do that, we're going to open as layers. We're going to select both trends. So this is Trend 1 and this is Trend 2. There's no change because one is on top of the other. If I replace them like this, then it's going to show the top one. Now what we're going to do is go to Animation, Playback, and check how it's going to look. So this is a bit too much. We are going to reduce it just a little bit. Actually, no, we're not. So what we're going to do now is we're going to export it again, only this time we are going to select it as GIF or GIF, or which one you actually prefer. So first of all, it's going to give you this little pop-up, which is going to call GIF or GIF options, and we are going to select as animation, loop forever, delay between the frames where unspecified is going to be 100 milliseconds. I don't exactly know how much is 100 milliseconds, so, you know, it's milli, so, you know, 1,000. So we are going to just add an extra 0 and use the delay entered above for all frames. And that is exactly what we're going to do. And export. So now we have a GIF or GIF or whichever. Let's just see how it's going to look. Sadly, it's going to open up through Windows Internet Explorer because why not? And there you have a very basic Edison Trend GIF, whatever. I think it's sort of pixely, but this is just the rough idea you'd get. So obviously, if you want to, you know, touch it up a tad, then again, you're going to select either one of these. If you're working on the bottom one, I actually suggest you make sure that you don't see the top layer like this. So you're just going to take the blur tool and just go and see where blurring is needed. Just get rid of the pixelation, something like this. Something like this. And yeah, basically that is how you make very basic signatures. Obviously, people make ornaments like sections and like there's, again, you know, this guy just said how do you create transmission bars, and this guy just said imagination. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. As long as you have imagination, you can make all sorts of signatures, and hopefully this little tutorial has shown you how to make a very basic one. So